Hi everyone. It's Tuesday. No, it's Thursday. Sorry. My brain is just not working. It's raining and it has been, one of those days. Just one of those days. I think we all have them. It's just, it's raining. There's no light. Autumn came really early this year, so usually we have beautiful Septembers in Italy. Well, this year's been always like raining and awful weather. So I decided that today I was going to talk about creativity for sadness, because that's what I did today. And I thought that maybe was applicable to somebody else. And I'm going to do it while I'm actually finishing an earring. So this is the actual earring. You can see how tiny it is. And so I'm doing the backing, which is in the acid at the moment because I just sorted like the tiniest bit I will ever do. And I don't think I will do them again for the next earrings. I just solder it to the backing so that I can do, those like butterfly backings. But yeah, still a bit dirty, but I'll have to clean it afterwards, so it can stay like this for now. So, as I said, today has been a bit, sorry, this light is really in my face today. Yeah, slightly better. So, yeah, I think I'm affected by the weather. Again, I think we kind of all are, some people more than others, but I think we are all like susceptible to the weather, and especially the amount. I'm very susceptible to the amount of light that I get. And those days when it's just like dark and gloomy, I just feel like shit, honestly. And in time, because I know that this happens to me, and I know that on those days I will just like to stay on the sofa under a blanket and watch terrible rom-coms and then feel shitty about myself, because then feel guilty because I haven't done anything that day, and then that becomes really unhealthy. So I have some tactics, let's say, that I use to trick myself into doing stuff when I'm feeling really gloomy. So obviously I am lucky because I feel that creativity is one of the nicest ways of feeling better, of making yourself feel better. And I have a job that is creative, and also that I can give the pace I want to, which I think is really important to avoid hating your job, which, many people do. So I think I'm really lucky in that sense. But, sorry, I took the wrong file. But, so when I feel really, like that, not like really shitty, but what I do is I try to do things that are less challenging. So, for example, and also things that I've been putting out for a long time, that I've been procrastinating on, and that don't require that much attention. So, for example, this earring was something that I needed to do. It's an order that I need to fulfill, but I don't have a very strict deadline. So I knew I would finish in the next week or so, but it wasn't something that I needed to do. But it's a quite easy job, so I already had most of the parts, so I just needed to basically assemble them. And so I decided that this was one of the things that I was gonna do today, because it's less mentally challenging. And when my mind can kind of go into like, how do you say it, like autopilot, then it helps me in these moments when I'm not feeling like the best, and I'm not like super focused, I want to say. It's not that I'm super focused, it's just that I doubt myself a bit more when I'm feeling down. So I don't want to do things that are more difficult, because then I'll like convince myself that I'm not able to do them, which is bullshit, honestly. I can do them. But yeah, I don't want my mind tricking me into things that I can't. I really hate that idea. So yeah, I just avoid doing them. So when I'm feeling just a bit what I do is just do something creative but not too challenging, on purpose, because I don't want to, again, just make me feel even worse if something goes wrong, because things always go wrong, you know. Well, not always, but they can easily go wrong. So that's my point, the first thing that I do. The second thing that I do, which is something that I decided for our company, and it's something that really lets me not think. It's actually, and it's another thing that I did today after lunch when my brain was like dead. After I eat, my brain is like completely dead. So that's one of the things that I did today, and tomorrow actually I'm going to do more, because I need to prepare them for this fair in Philadelphia. Not all of our drawers, we're changing the packaging at the moment, because we're going towards 3D printing, because we only do one of a kinds, and with 3D printing we can do packaging that is one of a kind as well. Otherwise it would be like really expensive. Like the box for my wonderful tiara that I showed you yesterday, I asked for a box, and it was around 600 euros, only the box. So we're trying to find alternatives that would fit even better what we want, and maybe not be that expensive. But anyway, some of our packaging has an outside box made of cardboard, and they're actually all made by hand in Bologna. Anyway, one of the things, and they're all white, and I paint them. So one of the things that I do when I'm feeling like that is paint the outside boxes. So as you can see, sorry, I don't know how much you can see from the bigger camera, but it's painted as a sky, like clouds in the sky. This is our logo, and one of the things that I love is that, oops, didn't close it properly. It goes, you can see that it continues. Let me show you, you can see that. I don't want to make it, if it touches this, it will become dirty, so I can't touch it. But you can see that the blue like goes from here to here, and it has only one way. You can see that, how it continues. There's only one way where it fits. And this is so relaxing. It's just incredibly relaxing. I don't need to think about it. There isn't a pattern. It's just letting like the blue and the white mingle with each other, and it's a very easy technique. It's nothing complex in any way. So that's when I'm feeling a bit more gloomy, that is what I do, because I try to convince myself when I'm feeling like shit that I could still do things that are useful for my job, because I have a creative job. So I won't do like taxes or applications for different I don't know, events or prizes, stuff like that. I won't absolutely do that when I'm feeling like shit. I will end up just representing myself in the worst possible way. So I won't do that, but I will do these creative tasks that are not that difficult, let's say. They're easy. These easier creative tasks. And those are my two first stages. If I can, I work at the bench. If my brain is not even enough to work at the bench, I paint some boxes. And we have different kind of like packaging and stuff that need to be hand painted. Also, our how are they called in English? you know, when you give like your address, your email address, stuff like that, those paper thingies. Anyway, I think you know what I'm talking about. I paint them all by hand as well. So when I feel a bit like that, I just do that because it's easy and I can put on like a movie or a series and it's easy. That's the real reason. It's just easy to do. And so it lets my mind wander and not think about what I don't want to think about, let's say. Sorry, I'll change the file because this is making that horrible, horrible sound. Then, when I'm feeling really shitty and I can't work and I hate my job, because those days happen as well, but I still like being at the workshop because there are days when I hate being here. Those days I just go for a walk, honestly. But when I still love this place, then in those days I paint the walls. I can't show it, unfortunately, because it's over. You'll see it in the camera, the back one, the one that sees my back. It's over there, on that. That's the like everything and anything corner where everything is chaos. It's complete chaos, and I'm painting the walls. I'm drawing some flowers on the walls. Some are good, some are complete shit, but that's just something I do when I can't, even when my job is not going the way I want it to be. Like I broke maybe a piece of jewelry, or it cracked, or I've never broken a stone yet here. But in the case where I'm really, really frustrated and I can't stand it anymore, that's what I do. I just put on some music, I sit down on the table and draw some flowers on the walls because it makes me feel better. And this doesn't, I'm telling this to you not because you have to do the same things that I do, obviously, but it's because it's a system that I found that works for me. And it's different kinds of creativity that I use in different contexts to make me feel better. And they are connected to how bad I feel. So usually the worse I feel, the less useful that kind of art, let's say, or creative stuff that I'm doing is going to be. So the better I feel, the more I'm going to be, the happier I'm going to be to do actually my bench work, which is at the end of the day what makes it's the important part of my job. I mean, everything else, taxes, shipping, all of that is obviously necessary, but it's not the core of my job. The core of my job is just sitting at my bench and creating jewelry. So my third stage is drawing on the walls. So that can, you don't need to draw on the walls. It can be like a sketchbook, things, an art form, let's say, or a creative outlet where you're shit at. And I think it's better if you're not good at it, not because, I mean, it depends obviously on your personality. Some people will get frustrated by this. I feel more freedom because I know that if I'm doing a jewel, then I have I'm keeping myself to more accountability because I know how to do it. Well, if I'm drawing on the walls, I don't really know how to do that. And I'm not a really good, like, I don't really do that nice designs, in my opinion, or drawings rather. So I don't keep myself at the same standard because it's fine. I'm a really good, I think, jeweler because I was taught how to do it, and I learned, and I spent 3 years of my life learning how to do this. I've never spent the same amount learning how to draw, so I don't expect myself to be as good, and I think that's absolutely fine. I shouldn't expect to be that good. I just never learned in the same way, so that's why my third step is doing something I'm not good at, or something that I would just like to practice, but without any kind of necessity for an outcome. You know, I don't need anything to come out of it. It's just the pleasure of doing it. And sometimes, like today, I honestly should have done that, but I was feeling guilty because we have this show coming up in Philadelphia and I have so many things that I need to do, and so I opted for the painting of the boxes because it's something that we need to do anyways. So I decided to do that. I don't know why this, but one is shorter than the other, so I'm going to measure it. It shouldn't be, but it looks like it is, and it is. I was right. So I'm going to cut that out. So yeah, so that's my third stage. My fourth stage is for when I feel really shitty, but overwhelmed kind of shitty. You know, that those moments, those I think are very specific moments of emotional overwhelm. And it's not, in this case, is not only sadness, but it's emotional overwhelm in general. And when I'm emotionally overwhelmed, then I write. I think we kind of all, I think, do that. If people don't write, I don't know how they survive, honestly. I think we've been taught to do this since like we were in middle school, maybe before that. And you know, like when they teach you how to keep a diary and stuff like that. I don't have a diary, and I'm really sorry that I don't, but I don't have the urge to write every day. I just need to write some days when I feel like I have too many emotions bottled up and I don't know exactly where to put them. And then I usually write mean stuff or horrible stuff or write stuff horribly. And so that's my fourth creative outlet, which is the one I have historically in my life used the most, is the one I'm most accustomed to, and it's the one that comes easier to me. It's also something that I can do anywhere, so I can do it on a train, on a plane, at home, in my workshop. I don't need anything. I can write on my iPad, I write on my phone, I write on like a little black book, I write on coloured bigger books, I don't mind. I can write on a piece of paper, I can write anywhere. So it's very flexible in my opinion, and it really helps me drain like my thoughts and my emotion, like clean them up and give me a little bit of peace of mind. So that's the fourth one I do, and that's not specifically for when I'm only sad, but it's mostly when I'm emotionally overwhelmed. I must admit that when I'm really happy, it hasn't happened that time that I felt the urge to write. So it's usually negative emotions overwhelm, not necessarily positive. But I have written in positive moments. It's just not that, it doesn't happen that often, let's say. But that would be my, let's say, fourth stage of not being able to do anything else. Because, as I said, if I am able to work, I will work. If I'm able to do something useful, I will do something useful before I do any of these other steps. But if I realize that I'm at a point where I'm not really thinking straight, I'm just wasting a lot of my time, I'm just walking around my workshop being insufferable, then that's what I do. I just sit down and write, and that works. And my fifth and last, well, maybe it's not the last, but my fifth and most, I think, vulnerable, but also pure in a way, outlet for my emotions, and these are negative emotions. When I feel sad, when I feel alone, when I feel that like nobody understands me, when I'm feeling overwhelmed by everything and I feel like I can't do enough, when I feel like I'm not enough. All of that goes into I'm really embarrassed to say this, but it's poetry. Nobody's ever going to read my poetry. That's just never going to happen. But it is something that I do when I'm really in that kind of state. It just flows. It's just what I don't know. This is so, I'm so embarrassed. I don't know why I'm saying this, but yeah, that's what I do. And if you haven't tried it, do. Obviously you don't have to. It's just something that I found that really helps my brain just quickly dump very negative but strong, very strong emotions. I just dump them over, I just dump them there, you know, like I barely read them, but if I do read them, I always feel very awkward doing it, reading my poetry. But there are things like, I know that I have written one thing, I don't know if I can call it a poem, I don't think it is, but it's a thing, let's say it's a thing. One night, because I was home alone and I was scared and it was raining, and you know when you're just waiting, I don't know if this happens to everyone or if it's just my anxiety or if it's just like maybe a more like woman thing, because we're so used to movies and real life stories of like women home alone and somebody like enters, breaks in and enters. So I was home alone and I was listening to every possible sound before going to bed, like listening to, trying to hear if there was something out of place. And I decided to write about it just because it was my anxiety, and I was just putting that on paper, and it did make me feel better, and then I fell asleep, so it did work. It was I think when I write, it's just a very momentary thing. So this is more the other, like things like painting or things like actually doing my job are less like strong momentary emotions, but more sustained over a longer period of time emotions when I need a pick me up or I need something like that. That's when these things I think really help. And I'm telling you all these very personal things that are quite embarrassing, honestly, not because I really want to because I think you're interested in it, but because I hope that if even one of you decides to try a creative outlet, I will be super happy. And I think we're all like really pushed towards doing good things. And I don't mean, unfortunately, good for others or the planet, but good things that are considered worthy for society. We're not justified in a way of doing like a mug just because that makes you feel better. You have to do, like, you know, a good, nice mug that's gonna be useful for something, even if you don't need a mug. And I think that art and being creative instead can be a very powerful outlet if it hasn't any strings attached to it. So, as I said, when I still use like my first outlets and I'm still working at my bench, it's a bit different because this is my job and it is myself forcing, like trying not to think, doing tasks that are a little easier, and trying to do the ones that I know relax me, like cutting, like drilling holes and doing certain kind of fretworks. Those are the things that really relax me. They're very repetitive, or like shaping petals is another thing that I really like, because I can't basically go wrong with that. So that is a bit different because it is my job. But other than those two, the other ones are just things that I do for the pleasure of it, because it makes me feel better and because I thoroughly enjoy doing it. And there is a before and there is an after for me. There is a before, there is like leaving my emotions there, my sadness there, or like picking me up. And there is an after, where I know I'm not another person. It's not like all my problems have been solved by drawing something on the walls. Obviously that doesn't happen, but I do feel better and that works for me. And so I hope one of you will try. That's why I'm telling you this. And whatever it is, like playing music, writing music, dancing, that helps actually me too. I can't really, it's a very intimate thing for me to dance, so I have to be completely alone, but that helps as well, I think. Especially, sorry, when you have that like that bottled up emotion, when you feel like physically you need to do something, you need to run, you need to shout, you do that, then that moment is when I just put on some music and dance at it. Weirdly, again, all of these I think work because they are not made for the public. They're not made for anyone else to see. And I think even when we are alone, sometimes we feel like we are our inner scrutinizers and our inner critics, but also the people who watch us. So I think many people, when they do stuff, they feel like they have to perform in a certain way. And what I'm trying to say is that all of these things really work if you're not performing, if you're doing them not even for yourself, you're just doing them without the need of any outcome. I think that's what really works. So yeah, those are my 2 cents on it. Again, today I wanted to actually work and talk, but I obviously didn't manage to do so. So now I have to finish this, which I will do in the next half an hour or so. And I thought that tomorrow I'm gonna do a live, but I'm not gonna talk, so you can actually see me work. I hope I'll manage to do it. If I don't, then you'll just chat with me. But I thought about doing one day where I'm just working. I'll change my cameras a bit so you can see where I'm soldering. Hopefully I don't like mess up anything. But yeah, so I thought about doing that. So tomorrow it's going to be just music and working. And I hope you'll enjoy it as well, because I think it's a very nice insight into the work of real life, live, slow work of an artisan. So I hope you're going to like it. I don't know anything. But yeah, so I'll see you tomorrow, and I hope you have a lovely evening, all of you. Bye.